Hello again, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about pronouns. Now, there are a lot of pronouns in English, and they're used in a lot of cases. For example, the personal, possessive, reflexive, demonstrative, indefinite, and a few others. But today we are going to begin our discussion with personal pronouns. And before I go into too much more detail, I want to look at them in context. I want to show us a few examples, and I want to examine them a little more closely. So first, be sure he knows the answer, or ask him, he must know the answer. Next, who's there? It's me. And next, I can always rely on her. So in the first sentence, he knows, he is the subject. However, in the second sentence, he becomes the object. So instead, we say him. In the third sentence, we have the verb to be. So just like in sentence 2, we use the objective case. And in the fourth sentence, after a preposition, we will also use the objective case. So if your pronoun is in the subject, you will use one of the following: I, you, he, she, it, we, they. Or if it is in the object, we will say me, you, him, her, it, again, us, you, and them. Now those are our personal pronouns. We use them to refer to people, but just to people. Now let's kick it up a notch. Let's look at possessive pronouns. Now possessive pronouns simply show that something belongs to somebody. For example, if I ask you the question, whose house is it? You would reply, it's my house, or the house is mine. So if we analyze the two previous examples, we can conclude that if the pronoun is followed by a noun, my house, we use my, your, his, her, its, our, your, or their. However, if the pronoun is not followed by a noun and appears at the end of a sentence, then we will use the following forms. And most of them end with the letter S. Mine, for me, yours, his, hers, its, theirs, ours, and yours, meaning belonging to all of you, not just you singular. Now, our next step are the reflexive pronouns, and these show that the subject of the sentence and the object of the sentence are the same. For example, Anne has decorated the tree herself. Or, let me introduce myself. There are also some verbs after which we use reflexive pronouns. For example, behave, enjoy, introduce, help, and teach. However, there are some verbs that we should not use reflexive pronouns after. For example, wash, shave, dress, feel, things that people commonly do by themselves. And in this case, we will usually not use a reflexive pronoun, although you may see it from time to time. There are also some problematic phrases when you are using reflexive pronouns. For example, many students, when they want to sound polite, will say something like, how do you feel yourself? Or, feel yourself at home. We never, ever, ever use reflexive pronouns after the word feel. For example, the first question, how do you feel yourself, should just be, how do you feel? Without a reflexive pronoun, or without any pronoun after the verb. The second, feel yourself at home, we have a set expression for, and this is a very common expression. We say make yourself at home, but do not use feel. Now, just like there are set expressions for to make yourself at home, There are other set expressions in English which make use of reflexive pronouns. Let's look at a few together. To be oneself. It means to be and behave as you naturally are or as you normally do. Like in the sentence, keep calm and just be yourself. Also, to be by oneself or to be alone. Like in the example, I could not even imagine that all of these people would leave in an hour and I could be by myself. Next, enjoy yourself. It means have a good time. Or do it yourself. It means to do it without help. You will also hear the phrase DIY. A lot of times we'll use this for projects around the house, and all it means is that you don't go to a store and buy something that's already been made. You make it yourself. Or it's a project you do yourself. Next, help yourself to something, like help yourself to the cake. It means serve yourself. Please feel free to take a piece of cake. Next, make yourself at home. Feel comfortable in my house. I'm just welcoming you. Next, make yourself understand. Make your speech, ideas, and thoughts clearer, better, easier to understand, or more accurately understand a certain topic. Here, I'm telling you to do it yourself, to force yourself to do it. Now, the next set of pronouns I want to talk about are the demonstrative pronouns. Its name interprets its meaning literally, and our examples of demonstrative pronouns are this and these, the plural form, that and those, plural, such and same. This and these are used to show that something or somebody is near us. That and those are used to show that something is far away. And a rule of thumb you can use is, if you can hold it in your hand or it is close to you, you say this. But if you need to point, you say that. And as I previously mentioned, this and that are the singular forms, so you will use them with a singular noun after them. Likewise, these and those are the plural forms, so they will require a plural noun afterwards. And let's look at some examples of all of these together. First, please take this t-shirt. I'm only handing you one, so I say this t-shirt. But if I say these people work for our competitor, I'm talking about more than one person. I'm talking about people. So I say these. Next, that lady is his wife. Now, I'm only talking about one lady, so I use that. But if I say that those exhibits are more valuable than these exhibits, I'm talking about those exhibits, plural, over there. And if I'm comparing them, I'll usually use one form, either this or that, or these or those, and then I will switch to the other form. This is more than that, or that is more than this. This or those are less than these are more than those. We will normally switch between them. And just like with reflexive pronouns, there are also some set phrases where we use demonstrative pronouns. Now let's look at a few together. First, those present. I'm talking about people who are here, are not absent. Everyone who has showed up today. Next, those concerned. People who are interested or involved, or who my information applies to. Just really anyone interested or involved. Next, that's right. Here, I am agreeing with you, or I'm saying that the information that you have told me is correct. Next, things like that. Such things. Other things that are like this example. Other things that are similar. Or other actions that are similar. For example, we can't stand him speaking like that. Or I don't like music like that. I'm saying that I don't like things similar to whatever that is. We can also say this in the positive. I can say, I love food like this. In this case, I just really like food that is similar to whatever that is. Next, more than that, or furthermore. Also, that's why, or that is, followed by the best. For example, that is the best pie I have ever eaten. Now, such is a demonstrative pronoun that indicates degree. For example, such a pretty woman, or such a good question. In this case, I'm saying that the woman is very pretty and that the question is very good. And we will always use such with singular, countable nouns, a woman, a question. Finally, same. The word same simply indicates that two words are identical. They match each other. And we should use the article the before it. For example, the same task. In this case, the task that you were given is the same task that I was given. So, they are identical. We have exactly the same task. Or, that's all the same to me. To me, there is no difference between any of these objects. Everything is identical. So, everything is the same. That's all the same to me. The last group of pronouns that we'll be discussing today are the indefinite pronouns. Now, the indefinite pronouns can talk about a lot of things. For example, indefinite pronouns express something unclear or uncertain in amount or quality. You mean somebody uncertain or unclear. Who exactly you want to discuss isn't exactly known. If you're using the indefinite pronoun in your speech, then you should be careful because some of them are singular and others are plural. So let's look at them in a little bit more detail. The pronouns some, somebody, or something can refer to a particular but unidentified person or thing. Now, some is usually used with plural or uncountable nouns. Be careful not to confuse some and the article a. For example, well, let's look at it. They must think of some new ideas. Or, let's buy some fruit. In this one, it doesn't matter which fruit exactly. And remember here, fruit is being treated as uncountable. Next, would you like some coffee or tea? Again, coffee and tea are uncountable, so we use some. And something like this. It doesn't have to be exactly like this, but just something similar. It could be anything similar, just something similar. Next, there is something wrong with the line. Here, I'm saying that there is a problem. I don't know exactly what the problem is, but I know that something is not correct. Now, the indefinite pronouns any, anyone, anything, or anywhere tell you that it doesn't matter at all who or what or where the action or the act sees as an object. And any will usually replace some in interrogative or in negative sentences. So let's look at this in a couple examples. You can take any dress you like. Here, you may choose any single dress. You can choose this one or this one or this one or this one. It doesn't matter. All of them are available. Next, we can't observe any changes in the program. We have not seen a single one. Next, may I take any cup in the cupboard? Here, I'm asking, is it important? Are there any cups I should not take? Another example, is there anyone in the house? Is a single person in the house? If there are, then yes, you could say, yes, people are in the house. But I want to know if even one person is in the house. And finally, Anne hardly does anything without his help. Here, I'm saying that Anne needs his help to do everything. She cannot do one single thing without his help. And what the thing is doesn't really matter. Now, let's move on to discussing the negative pronouns. Pronouns like no, nobody, no one, none, and nothing are used with singular verbs after them, with the exception of the phrase none of them. Every now and then you will see the pronoun none followed by are, followed by the plural verb. This is okay as long as it is short for none of them. And this is something that may be a little bit difficult to remember, but don't worry too much about it. You'll get it in no time. Also, we should explain that the word no one is the same as the word nobody. Like in the sentence, no one knows where he is. And no one and nobody, just like I stated before, should be singular. No one knows. Now, I can also ask a question such as, how much petrol do you need? If you don't need any, you can just say none. Or we also have phrases in English such as, no news is good news, and he is no good as a driver. Here, no news is good news simply means if you do not receive any news, if you don't hear anything, it's a good thing. And he is no good as a driver means that he's a pretty bad driver. Now we also have pronouns like each, combined with a singular countable noun. And it has the meaning of something like one by one, where we focus on each person individually. Just like in the sentence, each person has to sign this document, or each member votes. Here, I'm adding emphasis and I'm saying that each person, everyone, but each person must, and we use singulars. So, we also will use singular nouns with the pronoun every. And every means all, everyone, everything. So here we're gathering separate people or things into a whole. Just like in the sentence, we know every line in that contract, and every single one of us must take care of the environment. Here, instead of talking about it one by one, I'm saying that all of us together must take care of the environment. Or, I know all of the lines in that contract, every line, together. Speaking of all, we will often use all with a singular verb, and here we mean everything. Just like in the statement, all's well that ends well. Here, everything that has a good ending is good, even if something bad happens somewhere along the way. Now, if we use all with a plural verb, we mean everybody. Just like in the sentence, all are welcome home. Now, be careful because when you use a noun after all, there is no preposition necessary. However, if you follow all with a pronoun, the preposition of is mandatory. For example, all students have passed the exam without a pronoun, and all of us were satisfied with a pronoun us. Now, there are two more pronouns that often cause confusion for people learning English. When you have to choose between two things and both of them are acceptable, you can use the construction either or to show that both of them can in fact work. They are both possible. However, if you have two choices and none of them work, you must use the negative form, neither nor. And I would like us to look at these examples in a few sentences. So, first, either you tell me the truth or I'll leave. Here, both choices are possible. Either you can tell me the truth or you will have to watch me leave. Another, they drink neither coffee nor tea. Here, I'm saying that Both coffee and tea are unacceptable. They do not want any of the choices that I have given them, so I use neither nor. Next, either my brother or I was not allowed to visit the party. Or, either the mom or her daughters are going to prepare the dinner. Now, there's something funny happening here, but I want us to look at two more examples before we discuss it. The fifth example, neither my brother nor I was allowed to visit the party. Or, finally, neither a teacher nor his or her students were allowed to visit the competition. Now, you may have noticed this, but if we're using singular nouns for both the either or the neither nor, if both of my choices are singular, then I use the singular form of the verb. However, if even one of them is plural, then I will use the plural form of the following verb. The next indefinite pronoun that I want to discuss is both, and you can use both in examples like, both he and I were invited to the meeting, or both my colleague and I were invited to the meeting. In this example, both my colleague and I, right, received the invitation. It means that my colleague and I received invitations. And these are both positive examples. In a few more examples, I can say, we have both been invited, or these variants are both good. In this case, I'm just saying that they both share the same state. The two of them together are the same. They are good, or they are bad, or they have been invited. But they both, the two of them, both have the same conditions. Now, the last group of indefinite pronouns that I want to discuss with you are separated into countable and uncountable. Now, you may remember from earlier discussions that when we're talking about nouns, that some of them can be counted, chairs, tables, rooms, and some of them can't, coffee, tea. And when we're using pronouns to describe them, we need different pronouns for each one. Only countable nouns are used with the following pronouns: many, few, or a few. Like in the example, many questions, or a few questions, or few questions. However, be very careful, because many and a few are different, but we'll discuss exactly how in a second. For now, I want you to know that with uncountable nouns, we can say much, little, or a little. For example, much time, little info, or a little piece. Now, there are some indefinite pronouns that we can use with both countable and uncountable nouns, and those would be a lot of, lots of, a great deal of, plenty of, and a large number of. But earlier, I mentioned that there is a difference between a few and few, as well as between little and a little. But to really get this, I want us to look at some examples using all of these. In the first example, shall I buy some bread? If I respond, it's not necessary, we have a little. Here, I'm saying that we still have some, it's not a problem. But in the second example, if I say, there is little bread, would you please go to the supermarket? Here, I'm saying that there's not much or not enough bread. Now, in the next example, Jake is quite shy and has a few friends. Here, I'm saying that he has some and a small amount of, but if I say he was upset, few friends came to visit him, I'm saying that it's too few, not enough, not many, really almost no one came to visit him. Let's look at a few more examples. Next, the final exam was really difficult, but a few of the students passed it. Here, I'm saying that a small amount passed, maybe 30, 40%, but it's enough. However, if I say the teacher was really upset because few students passed his exam, that means that to him, not enough passed, really almost none, and it's a bad thing. Now that's about it for our discussion of pronouns. I hope you found all of this pretty easy, and I don't think you'll have any problem with all of this on the writing part of your exam. So good luck, and you may want to review all of this. These are fundamentals of English. These are part of the basics. But knowing these will really help you with a few more of the advanced things. And it's always nice to have good fundamentals. I'll see you in the next lesson.